Hello and welcome to Man Answers Television on the NASCA Network. My name is Paige Smith, your host for our program, and I am extremely honored, and it is my pleasure to welcome two extraordinary champions in the field of cancer awareness for women. I want to welcome Miss Cassandra Tisdale. Welcome to the program.
Hello.
And attorney Yvonne Soklove.
Thank you.
Welcome to the program.
Thank you.
So I want to start with Miss Tisdale. Tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got started with the Women's Straight Talk Network.
Yes, I created this network because I realized that there were some really deep-rooted issues that women were carrying around with them that they weren't talking about, involving cancer. And so, being a cancer survivor myself, I decided to start this network so that women can open up and talk about some of the traumatic experiences that they have gone through that normally they wouldn't talk about, because these issues are sometimes very sensitive and personal on their behalves. So that's why I started the network.
And that same question for Ms. Soklove.
Well, briefly, one of the reasons why I started the Pamper party is because I was hospitalized for 30 days when I was diagnosed with cancer. One of the things that, although this might seem silly to some, I was concerned about my pedicure. And I realized that in spite of the fact that I've been diagnosed with cancer and basically given what people would think is a death sentence, I still wanted to be beautiful. And so if I felt that way, I know other women feel that way.
That's interesting. So you were, first and foremost, you said, you know what, I have a challenge and I've got to beat this challenge, but I got to look good beating it.
Exactly. I always have to look good, cancer or not.
All right, so let's go a little bit deeper in terms of the Pink is Beautiful campaign. We talked about the Pink Pamper parties. Let's talk about the Pink is Beautiful campaign. What is that campaign all about?
Well, basically the campaign, I'm using the color pink because it's feminine. I don't have breast cancer. I was diagnosed with something called small cell carcinoma, which was on my pancreas and had spread to the liver. But I chose pink because, again, it's feminine. And the goal with the program is to educate, empower, and advocate for women with cancer.
Now that sounds, small cell carcinoma, that's a mouthful in of itself. But my understanding and research I've done is that it's a very painful form of cancer.
It was a very painful form of cancer. When I was admitted into the hospital, I was in excruciating pain. My liver had tripled in size in less than a month. It was pressing on my intestines, it was pressing on my heart, and I don't know if this is where I go into what happened as a result of that, but because it was on my pancreas, I had diabetes at that point. So when I went into the hospital, I didn't know it, but my blood sugar was almost 600.
Oh my God.
I had an infection and I had a rapid heartbeat. So they couldn't even deal with the cancer until they dealt with that high blood sugar. And like I said, prior to going into the hospital, I never had diabetes and I wasn't pre-diabetic. So not only is it painful, it's also very aggressive.
So there are many different forms of cancer, and understanding that small cell carcinoma may not be something, you talked about breast cancer, it's not breast cancer.
No, it's not.
But it is equally fatal. And I would assume early detection is key to survivability with small cell carcinoma as well.
I'm going to tell you, it's more deadly than breast cancer.
Wow.
There is no early detection because I'm the type of person who goes to the doctor often,
Right.
who gets mammograms every year. I'm at the gynecologist every year. There was nothing that said, oh my goodness, you have cancer.
Right.
My stomach was hurting is what happened. Well, I pointed to what I thought was my stomach. I went to the emergency room. The first emergency room doctor said it was reflux.
Okay.
I knew it wasn't reflux.
Right.
Then in March, I went back to the doctor, the emergency room in Mount Laurel, because my stomach was hurting again. They did every test in the sun, under the sun, and they said it's cancer. So there is nothing that I could have humanly possible did to know that I have cancer, because I'm always at the doctor. I do what I'm supposed to do. So this is one of those conditions that, unfortunately, early detection wouldn't have picked it up.
Okay. And assuming that you lead a, pretty active lifestyle, so it shuts you down.
I was dying when I went to the hospital.
Oh my God.
I was dying for more than one reason. Like I said, almost 600 blood sugar level almost took me out of here. The infection as a result almost took me out. And then I had a rapid heartbeat that they were very concerned about. During this time, I was barely conscious. They had me on medication. The pain was excruciating. I couldn't really take it. Right. And so my oncologist could not deal with the cancer part until they got all of that under control. But the cancer that I had, which also could have took me out of here, I always say I was on death row.
Oh my goodness.
But I have an adversary in heaven who was advocating on my behalf when I couldn't speak for myself.
Right.
So once they got the blood sugar, and they had me on several shots of insulin. I mean, it was terrible. But thank God for God. And like I said, for the most part, I was in ICU for over 2 weeks. And then at some point, I started to regain, I don't want to use the word consciousness because I was in and out, but I guess I was unconscious. I wasn't in a coma. Mm-hmm. So because the doctor believed I was dying, I have a 20-year-old daughter. Okay. So they told my sister to tell my daughter to get to the hospital immediately because in their minds, she needs to see her mother before she passes. Sure. So she came. She's the only child that I have. One of the doctors spoke with her and said she's never going to survive hospice. I mean, she's going home on hospice. She's not going to survive chemo because the tumor is pressing on her intestine. She's not going to be able to go to the bathroom. And because it's pressing on her heart, we're probably going to have to resuscitate. And then my daughter said, how much time does my mother have? The doctor told her 2 weeks. Okay. So this was very serious. So the Pink is Beautiful campaign, again, once I came back to myself and I was no longer in ICU in danger, I was still critical, but I was in a regular room. So now I'm thinking, well, I had a beautiful nurse. That's the other thing. She wanted to do things to make me feel good about myself.
And that's important because as we talk about healthcare and recovering from, what could potentially be a fatal illness, right. The other side of healthcare, behind the medicines and the drugs and the doctors, is how are you treated as a patient? So to your point, when you have that experience where you have a healthcare provider who is both empathetic, professional, and really focused on your wellness, first and foremost as a person, right. There are psychological benefits to having that type of care. So that's a very good thing, a very good thing.
And she wasn't the only one. I also had doctors. I was at the Cancer Treatment Center of America, and that commercial does not do them justice. And I chose to go there because body, soul, and spirit. No matter what you're going through, your attitude determines what happens.
Yes.
I had a positive attitude the entire time. No one wants to be diagnosed with cancer, but I understand that how I go through this situation is important. So I started the Pink is Beautiful campaign because I understand, because now that I've been there, done that, I can help other people who are going through it.
Absolutely.
I've been through experiences that I would have never been able to speak about if I had never gone through it. And as a result, I want to reach out to women and men. Although we don't discuss men, it's open to men as well. Anyone with cancer is basically my concern because it impacts each and every one of us. Now, most people cannot say if they themselves don't have cancer, they know someone who did. Right. And usually when you talk to them, they think it's a death sentence. And that's why I want to put the information out there. Number one, what type of cancer it was, so there's no misconception that I had breast cancer. I did not. It was something that really could have took me out of here, and it almost did. And the only reason why I'm here today is because of God, and I understand that. And he's going to get the glory out of this situation. He got the glory from sparing my life off death row. Yes. He's getting the glory right now, and he will continue to get the glory because I will be constantly going out advocating and empowering whomever, women, men, children, whomever is impacted by cancer.
So that's a phenomenal, phenomenal story. And again, while medical professionals and doctors certainly have the skill as a practitioner, as Ms. Soklove just stated, it's great to know, and this is something that we know within our communities, there is a higher power that provided the intelligence so that the practitioners can do what they do, but sometimes that higher power steps in. So we are grateful and thankful that you're here with us today. So I want to thank Ms. Soklove for that inspirational story. And when we come back from break, we're going to speak with Ms. Tisdale on the inspiration that drove her to creating the Women's Straight Talk Network. We'll be back in a moment.
Welcome to Children's Space Learning Academy. My name is Leah, and I am the CEO and the founder of this learning facility located at 5665 Springfield Avenue, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania 19143, in the southwest area of Philadelphia. We provide a highly trained and certified staff and vow to mature, grow, and cultivate the learning in your children in order to enhance production of our young scholars for tomorrow. CCIS is accepted. We are now enrolling. You can call today for an appointment at 215-724-2500, or you can visit us on the web at www.childrenspacelearningacademy.com. We hope to see you soon.
Welcome back to Man Answers Television on the NASCA Network. We're here with our honored guest today, Ms. Cassandra Tisdale and Ms. Yvette Soklove. And I want to ask Ms. Tisdale, what are some of the inspirational activities or events that drove you down the path of creating the Women's Straight Talk Network?
Well, one of the things that truly inspired me was my own experience. And I say that because for a while I couldn't even talk about my experience or my ordeal or the issues that were involved with me having cancer. I consider myself a cancer survivor today, but believe me, the scars of that ordeal, they stay with you. They're deeply rooted scars that sometimes just are hard to really, just heal from.
Sure.
So I realized that myself, I couldn't talk about it for a while. I just wanted to bury it. I wanted to kill it again, and I wanted to bury it over and over again. And I just wanted to leave it in the past. I guess I was afraid that if I talked about it, I would bring it back up again. I wanted to just leave it where it was at and not think about it ever again. So I knew that if I felt this way, that there had to be other women out there that felt the same way. Also, the fact that like I said, there's scars. We're left with deeply rooted scars. Physical scars, emotional scars, and even psychological scars. I myself had to undergo a mastectomy, that meaning that my breast was removed. So now I thought about how do other women feel? Do they feel the same way that I do? Because I have to look in the mirror every day. How do women see themselves? How do they feel about themselves? And it was very hard and it was difficult. So these are the things that I want to inspire women to talk about, to release so that they can heal and move on, because there is life after cancer.
So one of the things I want our viewers to recognize, and this is one of the phenomenal things about our guest today, candid, straightforward discussion on not only their experiences, but there's also what I would consider a residual effect emotionally. When we had a chance to talk before we came on air, you brought up the point that women don't necessarily talk enough. There's certain things and certain reasons where they feel justified in almost keeping their, cancer diagnosis or treatment, for lack of a better term, in the closet. Let's talk about some of the risks associated with that behavior, not just physically, but mentally, and some recommendations that both of you would have for women who are apprehensive about talking about their own personal ordeal with cancer, and how organizations such as the Women's Straight Talk Network and the work you're doing with the Pink Pamper parties, how these organizations can really help these women in terms of their own personal journeys of overcoming this very, very difficult illness.
Well, we know that in the past that it has been a very difficult subject for women to talk about in the beginning. Today, it's more prevalent that women are coming out and they're letting you know that they have been diagnosed with breast cancer or any other form of cancer. Because at Women's Straight Talk Network, we're not just targeting breast cancer, we're targeting all cancer. And not only cancer, because there are other traumatic and life-threatening experiences that women go through that have left them carrying scars. So that's one of the things that we love to do, is to inspire women, again, to come out and to speak about what it is that they're going through.
Okay. Okay.
And with regards to myself, I'm a very private person, so I wasn't going to discuss cancer until it was over. Not for fear purposes, but privacy. God did not allow me to go through it privately. The minute I was diagnosed, it got out like wildfire. So then I said, I'm going to determine what information is released. I'm going to come out the closet full force. When I was bald, and I still am, I did not wear a wig. I wanted everybody to see, and I, on my Facebook page, have every single thing that I'm going through. The chemotherapy bag, you see a picture of it. My bald head, everyone saw that, because what I felt, I'm coming out for everybody, not just Yvette. I'm coming out for the people, the women who are embarrassed about being bald. I'm coming out for the individuals who are embarrassed or don't want people to know that they have cancer. I'm coming out for them, and I'm standing up, not just for myself, but for them as well. So they can know it's okay that you have cancer, but cancer doesn't have to have you. And if you're hiding because you're afraid, I'm gonna let you know it's okay to share your story. You may not wanna go out without your wig on, but you know what, I'm going out for you. And I'm gonna stand up for you as well. And I'm gonna be the voice for you. Because the bottom line is we're all impacted by cancer, whether we have it personally or not. And we wanna show them, listen, I'm fabulous with cancer. You would not know that I had it. And I'm wearing a port. My port is under the skin, and they put the chemotherapy through there. I did not mind that it's going to be seen on television, because that's another educational moment. Sure. This is what it is. This is how I get chemo. I had chemotherapy yesterday for 5 hours. I don't look like I'm dying. And that's the other reason why it's important that, for the program Cassandra has and what I'm doing, these are the options that we have. For me, the option was chemo or death. But everybody doesn't have that as an option. They don't know why people don't want to get chemo. They think, like I thought, that maybe it hurts, because we're ignorant of certain things until you have to go through it. Right. That's why, by choice, I'm putting every single thing that I'm going through, because when the next person, unfortunately, has to go through it, they remembered how it impacted me. And I always have different people telling me, Yvette, you inspire me. And I call us warriors, because we're going through a battle. Yes. But we are warriors going through it.
So it's interesting, as I think of 3 words and now 4 words that come to mind, as I'm sitting here with these extraordinarily beautiful women who've gone through and have faced their challenges and either beat cancer or in the process of beating cancer. When I think of words like courage, when I think of words like resilient, you talked about being a warrior. These are the things that it's important that women understand, that while you may be facing this illness in the privacy of what you define as your closet, it's okay to come out of that closet. And when you come out of that closet, you may run into some warriors who've also fought the same battle that you're currently fighting. And you'll be surprised the assistance that you too can have on the front lines. So let me talk about this. We talk about women and we talk about cancer. How important is it? Let's talk about, since my program is Man Answers Television, how important is it to have the men behind the scenes and the families behind the scenes. The men can be husbands, significant others, brothers, sons, fathers. Let's talk about how important that support is as you're going through this battle. How important was it for each of you?
I think it's very important to have your family, most of all, and friends supporting you. A lot of people don't have the support that they should have or need to have. For instance, I'm in touch with a young lady who has gone through the same process with breast cancer, and she has a homeless shelter philanthropic interest that she's focusing on right now, due to the fact that when she was going through, she didn't have anyone in any kind of support, and so some people took her into their homes and they nurtured her and supported her while she went through the process of chemotherapy and recovering. So it's very important that we have that support, and it's just vital. It's vital.
With regards to the male piece, and long story short, I was also going to Temple University when I was diagnosed. I was getting an LLM in trial advocacy, and towards the end of the program is when I got deathly ill. Okay. My BFF is a classmate who was willing to, because our graduation was in May. Okay. He was going to forego going to graduation and sit in the hospital with me. Wow. Why? I mean, this is not our first graduation. We're already attorneys. This is beyond our law degree. But he was going to sit in that hospital because he said it's no fun sitting in the hospital while we're graduating. So I thought that was awesome. But it's my sister. I was in the hospital for 30 days while I was battling cancer. My sister stayed there the entire 30 days, slept there, did not leave. It is critical to have support. Yes. I have a 20-year-old daughter and a 3 and almost 1-year-old almost 2-year-old grandson. They were not allowed to come to the hospital because they were sick, and then I had a white blood cell issue at one point. So when you have people around you, I don't care if it's man, woman, child, it helps you get through the process better. But the men that did play a role, my doctors, I mean, they were compassionate and caring individuals. The people that God sends to be in your corner at the time, it's invaluable because it makes you feel better about what you're going through.
That's outstanding. So courage, resiliency, warrior spirit, and family. It sounds like that's a winning formula for anyone who's going through the challenge of trying to beat a cancer diagnosis. As we're running out of time, I want to take a moment to have each one of you talk about your organizations and talk about how people can get in contact with you, with your various websites, telephone numbers. Let me start with Ms. Yvette Soklove. How can people learn more about the Pink Pamper parties and the Pink campaign?
Well, first and foremost, they can email me. My email address is ysoklove@comcast.net. That's my first initial, last name. They can also, I have a Facebook page that they can certainly come to because that's where I post all those pictures, and it's Yvette Crockett Soklove on Facebook. Okay. I have a website for my law practice, but it also mentions the Pink Pamper Party. And the other thing as an attorney, and I want to make sure I mention this, because of the experience that I've gone through at the hospital, each year I'm going to donate my legal services, which would be creating powers of attorney and also wills.
That's fantastic.
Because I believe that you have to give back.
That's a partnership.
Amen.
Exactly. So they can come to my website as well, which is www.yvettesoklove.com. The other thing is, with regards to how people can partner with us, these Pink Pamper parties are free. We don't charge anybody for anything because we want them to feel good about themselves, even if it's an hour or two. So we're not asking the women that come there that have cancer, we're not asking for a dime. If someone wants to donate anything to this organization, they can contact me because we're giving the women flowers. We're going to give them a rose or a carnation, that's pink. We're decorating everything pink and fabulous. Now that isn't free, but it does not cost the women anything. So if anyone who wants to donate flowers, balloons, or finances, certainly we would be willing to take it and accept it and acknowledge them as well. So that's the other thing. And we're also looking for women, because right now it's in New Jersey. We're working our way to Philly in terms of these pink pamper parties.
Okay.
So if there are women who are watching this program, if you have cancer and you want to participate in the pink pamper party, by all means call me, give me your number, and then I'll register you, because you have to pre-register.
Okay. All right, Ms. Tisdale?
Yes, you can contact us at www.womens with a Z Straight Talk Network. And you can also call us at STR, that's 1-844-STR, talk.com.
All right. Well, I think we're out of time, so I want to thank our guests today, Ms. Yvette Soklove and Ms. Cassandra Tyndale,
Yes.
for educating us on their personal challenges and struggles in beating cancer, as well as informing our listeners. As our listeners listen to the program today, walk away with one word: courageous. These are courageous women who are now taking their stories and looking to empower women within their respective communities and beyond, focusing on overcoming and beating the, at times, deadly diagnosis of cancer. Thank you very much. It was my pleasure meeting you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
For joining us here on Man Answers Television on the NASCA Network.
Welcome to Children's Space Learning Academy. My name is Leah, and I am the CEO and the founder of this learning facility located at 5665 Springfield Avenue, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania 19143, in the southwest area of Philadelphia. We provide a highly trained and certified staff and vow to mature, grow, and cultivate the learning in your children in order to enhance production of our young scholars for tomorrow. CCIS is accepted. We are now enrolling. You can call today for an appointment at 215-724-2500, or you can visit us on the web at www.childrenspacelearningacademy.com. We hope to see you soon.